Let me put it this way to you. This whole process started in October when we first said to ourselves, I had done by that time about 45, 50 webinars. And we all told ourselves, webinar is a tool. What is the point in doing a webinar if at the end of it, we are not going to do some action? It took us another 3 months or so to January when we launched what we call today the World of Water, or the WOW Action Forum. We invited Usha Kini, who is a retired director of the Doordarshan Kendra, a broadcast professional. And she liked the idea. She said, look, if solutions are as many as they are, what is preventing people from doing it? What is it that the government need not do or cannot do? So we began this exploratory journey first, but with clearly only one measurable target that we set for ourselves on January 9, when the first of the WOW meetings was held. And we said we will have 1,000 crore liters, or those who are familiar with millions and billions, 10 billion liters. So as I said, this is not a webinar. Webinar is a tool, therefore this is more an action forum meeting. If, as one of our colleagues said, 100 people who can act is always better than having 500 spectators in a webinar. So we said we will do a Zoom meeting. We will not, today you will see at the peak, we will probably have about 45, 50 people. We will not have more than that. So we said, how do we reach more people with this meeting? How do we YouTube it? How do we get more people to engage and involve with us? That is another important component to this whole dynamic of trying to engage and get the city to be involved in it. Yesterday, I was talking to a water analyst and a very senior professional from Melbourne, Craig Burton. He was saying something that I think I want to share with you all. He said, to develop effective strategies and factors that influence consumers' water conservation behavior is a central challenge. I wrote a letter only yesterday to the BWSSB chairperson. And intuitively, I ended up talking about this need for behavior change and what the Water Supply Board can do, or any of the other agencies. We will listen to Sri Tippeswamy also speak about that. There is a new AGA member, the Action Group Apartments member, Mr. Karnad. I don't know if he has joined us still. And then there is this young lady, architect Sukanya Chatterjee, both of who have spoken in the last, say, 2 weeks or so about the examples in Cape Town or in Singapore of how the water bill shows you what you have consumed, but it doesn't stop there. It shows you what your neighbor has consumed, or the neighboring apartment, let us say. And also in Singapore, I believe the water bill shows you what the national or the city average is. The WOW Secretariat is also working on getting such a change made with the BWSSB bill. I was speaking to the PR person, Mr. Manjunath. I don't know if he has joined us. He said he will join us today. Because Mr. Tippeswamy is here, he said, definitely, sir, I have to join, because, you know, you are, Mr. Tippeswamy, you are one of those people, even today, they talk about you in the Water Supply Board. Now, the other aspect, as all of us know, is the radical change that has to come about, and it will come. For example, for say 3 days, and you're getting not 1 liter of water. It is then that you will want to act. How do we take that message, or such a message, to each of our water consumers in apartments or hotels or whatever these places are, is another thing that we are looking at. Not that we have any solutions, but we've been intensely discussing these issues. Even yesterday at the AGA meeting of the Action Group Apartments, Mr. Sitapati Rao is here. Mr. Suresh Pai, the chairperson of AGA, is also here. We were all trying to see how we can reach such messages in a way that we are able to get this dire crisis that is before Bangalore by 2030. In 2011, Mr. Tippeswamy is talking about how, you know, Bangalore city's water management is completely ineffective, he said, you know. And if one of you there, Anjali or someone, can put up that link of that report of what Mr. Tippeswamy said then 10 years ago, it would be useful for other listeners also to actually probably read it. At WOW, we have put together a crack team of professionals who will, we are hoping, will educate people on how to buy these sets of solutions that they need, whether it's about rainwater harvest or meters or STPs or beyond STP, what do I do, and so on. We have a lovely set of professionals who are willing to help on this, who are willing to see that a consumer's or a buyer's choice, it becomes more informed with the information that we will offer them. The third factor, which is linked to the first one on outreach, is how do we create imagery that provokes emotion? Almost always, lay people, common people are challenged on conceptual realities. And so making it concrete for those viewing it in terms of, infographics or whatever those visual presentations are, is another need that we have got. We are looking at it. We will find solutions for it, is my hope, aspiration, and I think a reasonable good expectation based on things that we are doing just now. They all have to, the consumers have to see the problem that Bengaluru will have in 2030. As that young girl, 14-year-old Elena said the last time when we met at such a meeting, she was powerful. She said, who says kids cannot make a change? Many of you will remember that. The newcomers have to know. And these clips are all available on the website. Some of you who want to see the short films that we have made out of extracts that we have made out of each of these discussions, you will find it extremely inspiring, extremely educative, and perhaps help you influence other minds also in places that you live in and so on. I will want to, work on a few other things. Discuss a few things more, but I'll leave that for probably the next round, after Mr. Tippeswamy has spoken. Let me talk about Mr. Tippeswamy. We in 2019, we were some 3 or 4 people who were present in a panel discussion. I heard him that day. I was silenced by the very precise, very methodical mind that he brought to the discussion. He is more like Mr. Padhu Padmanabhan, who says that he will not want to speak today. And both are people who have straddled. One has straddled the water scenario for 50 years now. The other person has straddled the energy landscape for 50 years. Both have brought very, very powerful initiatives across the country. And in Mr. Tippeswamy's case, lots of things in Bangalore. More people who know, say, Koramangala and the flooding and the inundation that used to happen in that area, which is now history. That's the set of solutions that were brought, were all architected by him. And I leave it to him to talk about that as he goes along. He's one of the other thing about him is retirement, no retirement. He has been one of the most outspoken people. Like I said, 10 years ago, he said certain things that people who are retired officers also are not willing to talk about. Mr. Tippeswamy is one of those unusual, exceptional professionals who continues, of course, to be consulting people on a few of these professional needs. But more important, whenever he gets an opportunity, he tells you what you can do with the city, what the water supply board can do with the city. Now, you listen to him. While we all listen to him, I ask myself, and this is a question that I brought up yesterday too, at another meeting, of what use is his pleas or his appeals or mine or yours or whoever is going to speak if we cannot act on them? What is action we can define after we listen to him? Where can Mr. Tippeswamy help us all at the WOW Action Forum and then at the WOW Action Group? We have 4 of them today on the mission target of 1,000 crore liters that we have set for 2021. What does he think, by the way, of the mission target? Honestly, is he willing to tell us that this is not going to work? Or is he going to say, well, you've got a great mission target. Let's see how we can break this down. And this is how you can possibly be guided into achieving it. Let's see what he wants to say about that too. I was at a meeting of the Pollution Control Board recently. Notifications for violation of the water discharge regulation have been issued. So I asked for a copy. They're all reluctant to offer a copy. They're caught in a bind. One level, they're not sure if they can go hard on people who are violators, among apartments and other places. Penalties are also being collected. Over 15 crore, Vijay will tell you more in specific detail. Over 15 crore rupees of penalties have been collected in just 1 year. I know of an apartment right here in Lanka, which is willing to pay 2 lakhs as penalty, but not willing to do something about the STP, post-STP water discharge. People are happy to pay penalties, but not to act. Why? Where is this block in their minds? What is this new notification that has now pushed up by 3x, I think? That is, if you are paying, say, 1 lakh, you now have to pay 3 lakhs as penalty. Is that increased penalty going to make a difference to the violator of these regulations that the city has got today? RWAs, instead of actually complying, have sent representations to the Pollution Control Board to repeal and withdraw that regulation on water reuse with STPs. How do I believe that? How can water consumers be helped if this is the regressive position consumers will take? Actually, a lot of the people here, and I won't take names here, live in apartments which don't even have an STP. Forget about post-STP, excess discharge water and treatment and so on. Vikas Brahma, who is going to speak after Mr. Tippeswamy, he tells us maybe 3 days ago, he says, there's always one person in an RWA who blocks the decision. How do we identify such people? And now I'm addressing all the members here. How do we make those people understand that this has got to be, like that lady, the young girl said the other day, that this has got to be done in our own interest, forget the interest of the city. We have to do this. We are a microcosm of that challenge of climate change that the earth is facing. How do we make them understand that? Vikas and Jeevan have come up with a revolutionary solution. If you have excess treated discharge water, they are willing to collect them from your building, hotel or hospital or apartment, whatever you live in, or whatever that building is. Remember, residential alone in Bangalore accounts for about 45 to 47,000 crore liters, 47,000 crore liters a year of total freshwater demand. The composite or the gross total of all buildings, all things in Bangalore is at roughly 70,000 crore liters. There are figures that we can share. Whoever wants to ask, you can put up a request in the chat box, and we will give you such reasonably well-researched data that we have got. We can also ask the advice of senior veterans like Mr. Tippeswamy on such estimations that the WOW Group and Alltech Foundation has done. Question is this: are you individually or collectively willing to support this effort or this offer that people like Vikas and Jeevan and others are willing to make, to see that they come and take your water? They don't want any money to be paid to them. They're saying, you give us the water, we will see what we will do to make them, to recover that water, shall we say. That's how this idea of water recovery was born. And that is how this theme of today was born. How do we make Mattondu Kaveri Heg Madadu? How do we ensure that we have one more Kaveri by simply halving the demand? That's all it is. Now it is time for me to hand the mic over to Sri Tippeswamy. Thank you so much, Mr. Tippeswamy, to have so readily agreed. I must tell you this also. I send him a message in less than 30 seconds. He sends it back to me. He's very alert, very quick on his responses, both on mails and on WhatsApp. As I said earlier, please ask him any questions you want. Be forthright. You can tell him that he is wrong if you like, or you can ask him for more things if you think that he is saying all the right things. Mr. UVS Rao, you asked me about surface water management and such things. You asked me about storm drain management. I think it was Suresh Pai who asked about flyovers and what are you doing with water and such things. Here is the man. He will speak about all of these things. Sri Tippeswamy, you know what I have written to you. I will leave it to you how you want to take the next 20-25 minutes to stimulate, provoke, excite people into action. Thank you.
Before I could start, I have a small request. I would like to know from other colleagues of yours.
Yeah.
Let me understand what is their feeling in terms of that. Of course, I understood what you really want, sure. But at the same time, I would like to understand the others' perception on this. And sure. Finally, I can give my views right from right from the one right from resources, what need to be done by the individuals and to up to the government. And finally, we should achieve how we can really achieve, and how the case the other cities have achieved that, and why not we just implicate or just similar things can be done. I think that's exactly I will like to, because there is lots of things I want to discuss, but I would like to know a few of them can speak after 15-20 minutes. I can certainly make note of that so that wonderful. I can respond to them and give some solutions to what they really intend to.
Great. Then I will start with Jeevan Raj. Jeevan, can you speak up, please? And possibly, encapsulate what you told us all some 3-4 days ago. Over to you.
Good evening to all the senior professionals here. I think you all have experienced more than my age. So it is I'm very happy to be here today. Basically, I'm a mechanical engineer and I'm in this wastewater management from past 20 years. I work with Indian and a lot of multinational companies for the wastewater management. And in Bangalore, I started my own company.
That's okay. I think we'll not talk about individual things.
Yeah.
Mr. Tippeswamy asked you a question. Can you directly go there and say what problem you face when you go to bulk consumers?
Sorry,
and
sir,
what you want to do with that?
When I go to
bulk water users, what is the challenge you face? What do you think we should do to bring such reduction?
Sir, actually, if I am in the residential apartments, I can see that the plants are not being operated properly, and 50% of the water is not being utilized at all. Okay.
What is the support you are not getting from, let us say, Water Supply Board or Pollution Control Board?
Sir, see, there is no proper law for that. Okay, so I am in touch with all the KSPCB team from past 3 years, that I know that this million liters of water a day we are wasting. Okay, treated water. Okay, good quality of water. I am begging them from past 3 years that let us utilize this water for even the medians of the roads. BBMB is getting the new water, like the clean water, domestic water for watering it.
We know the challenge, yes.
Yeah. So, but there is no proper legislation and monitoring and enforcement is there from the statutory bodies. Okay, let it be KSPCB.
Since Vikas has been working with you, I will turn that same question from Sri Tippeswamy to Vikas Brahmavar. Vikas, can you respond to what our Mr. Tippeswamy asked you?
Yes, hi, Mr. Tippeswamy. Thanks for being here. My issue currently is whenever I go to apartments and say you have excess water currently going to the drain on daily basis, say you have few lakh liters of water going to the drain, can you give that to us to treat because you're spoiling a lake or something? Can you give that to us? People are saying, why should we give? We will still send the water out. We are not being questioned by anyone. We'll still send the water out.
But
so
how do we
address this?
It is not legal for them to send the water out. Is that right?
Yeah. So if it is 100% reuse, then they're saying we're using some portion of it for the garden. Rest all we are sending out as per the norms. Why should we?
But are they as per the norms? Are they within the law when they are discharging outside?
See, that's what people use the law to make it beneficial for them. They use 5 liters of water and rest and 5 lakh liters outside. They still meet the law.
Okay. What do you think, therefore, the government should do to support some initiatives of the kind you youngsters like you are trying to bring in?
Yeah. So this reuse of water needs to be properly monitored. People don't know how much people are actually reusing, and just sending notifications and then finally allowing apartments to pay fine will not work over time. There has to be some enforcement that their water, if we say 100% reuse, they will at least use 75-80%. So that is my point.
If there are 2 questions you want to ask Mr. Tippeswamy, what will they be?
One important question is, how do we solve this crisis, which is heavy in terms of sending wastewater out to the lakes? How do we solve this? How can government help us? Second, why are industries led to use Kaveri water for their processing? Why can't we have a distribution mechanism to have this water recovered and given to industries?
Great. Ganesh Sanban, you said Vikas has said the right thing. Can you explain that, please? Again, in the context of what Mr. Tippeswamy asked.
Yes, I mean, Vikas was right on point where like we do not have a distribution mechanism. I'll give you one example, right? Chinnaswamy Stadium is the very right example. It requires million liters of water per day, but I think they have a mechanism of getting this from the treated water rather than not relying on the groundwater or the Kaveri sources. And the second point is, I seriously do not understand the law of KSPCB, which they make it to their own benefits, right? So on the record, I am saying this, 90% of the apartments in Bangalore have at least one dead borewell, right? Why can't the extra treated water can be let into borewell directly? And I have been successful in doing this. So if this is possible and KSPCB is able to tweak these laws, then we do not have any other challenges of letting out the treated water into the BWSSP drains.
Okay.
And
Sure.
I think in the last meeting, I told how it is possible, right? Like without actual chemical contamination.
But instead of letting it in to recharge the groundwater retention system, what if consumers are told, I say, you can treat that surplus discharge water, that is the other 50% post STP, and like in Singapore or in China, drink it. Where is the block?
Yes, I mean there are a lot of UF membranes available, and other day I was talking about this as well. Our scientists working at Baba Atomic Research Center have already developed these membranes, and they are already available in market. Yeah, it's just about the mentality, right? Like currently we have some source available, and we are just over relying on it and overburdening it. And probably in 5-6
Right.
years, when we run out of the source, definitely everyone will start drinking that. That's just about the point what I was making.
Please note, Mr. Tipswamy, Mr. Tipswamy, he's saying the day or the year we run out of water, we will come to this solution, because you have done what, about 50 crore liters per day kind of whatever treatment to that level with membranes and such things in the last say 2 years.
In the 55-56 crore liters we have.
Which is water that you can drink, is that right?
Yes, technically, yes.
But no, not technically, as fact, right? That is, if you send it, it is. Have you ever been able to have anybody drink that water, or has it only been done for all non-drinking purposes after making it potable?
Yes, it is still not being used for drinking.
Why is it so?
Having all the water reports saying that it is drinkable better than any source available, Kaveri water, borehole water. This is best water. Even then, people don't drink.
It is the most potable water, you are saying, and yet no one has taken this solution from you for drinking water. Is that what he's saying? Mr. Tipaswamy is noting all this. You asked me the other day, tell me what you can do or bring me a support from the government. He's not the government today, but he spent 35 years in the government. And people listen to, doyens like Mr. Tipaswamy. Please remember that. Suresh Pai, after you, I will go to UVS Rao. I'm still going with what Mr. Tipaswamy has asked us. I want to listen to other people he has said. Mr. Suresh Pai, what would you want to ask Mr. Tipaswamy?
Good evening. One thing which I want to ask is regarding the quality of water and the amount spent by the government in bringing the water from faraway places. Is it really worth? Because the source is available within the city, and you spend millions or crores of rupees in bringing the water from faraway place, and with a lot of loss of water. Loss of water means only you will get around 50 to 75% of the water which you are bringing from some other place, and then say that we are going to supply only 1/4 or 1/5 of that what stage 1.
38%. Mr. Suresh Pai, Tipaswamy knows this. Let me tell you, 38% officially admitted by the Water Supply Board is the loss every day. You know how much that is? 60 crore liters.
Yes.
60 crore liters, and in rupee terms, it is approximately 2.5 crore rupees per day that the Water Supply Board loses on that leakage water alone. Rupees wise, 2.5 crores. And you know what I said about 60 crore liters every day being lost. Okay, that's any other point you want to raise?
Why can't we emulate the example of Bombay, where the loss of water is only around 14%? If you look at Singapore, it is less than 5%. Or Tokyo, or Jamshedpur. For example, Jamshedpur has been indicated as around 9%. So I think there are good examples within our country. Why can't we follow that? Why go from 49% to 38%? Now we say that we are going to bring it down to 24%. I think it is big waste of public money which the government is spending.
Sure. Mr. UVS Rao, I know Mr. Tipaswamy is making notes, therefore I will, I will leave that there, Suresh. Mr. U.S. Rao, if there is a reason for my inviting Mr. Tipaswamy today, it is also you. You brought it up, I think in WOW 3 meeting or something. Today we are in WOW 7. What is the question or reflections or thoughts you want to offer to Mr. Tipaswamy as a respected water management consultant yourself? Mr. Siddharth Rao.
Yes, sir. You see, I'm in Hyderabad, so the Hyderabad Metropolitan Development Authority's rules say that any excess water after treatment and use in the gardens or maybe for toilet flushing also, can be discharged within the premises by creating an artificial pond. But that is a premium which is not available anywhere. Now, the law doesn't say the excess water can be discharged into open well or any defunct bore well. Some colleagues in this forum have been repeatedly saying, let us discharge into the open well. Let us discharge to the other well, whatever it is. Now, government is just trying to say pounds on people just to see, even with a slight violation, they want to fine. Now, what does the exact law say? I don't know about Bangalore. If somebody can tell, yes, officially, you can discharge excess treated water into a defunct borewell or an open well. Is the law allowing it? Okay. If it is allowing it, how many Indians are really, treating the water to such levels that it will not pollute groundwater? My second and last question. I think, see, quite often people are talking about treating the water to the level of, drinking water purposes. Now, the main problem seems to be something like 1/3 of everybody's consumption in a day is going for flushing and other purposes. So why not we concentrate more on the use of STP water for several other areas other than going to the extreme step of talking about, drinking water level. What is the drinking water consumption per day per person, sir, compared to the kind of water we are wasting through the drains? I think we are not, as Indians, see, we are very dirty. If Prime Minister has to start an initiative called Swachh Bharat, then slowly things are catching up. It will take another 10 years, even the cities to come to some standards. When that is the case, are we going to say, play into a situation where somebody, does not treat water properly? He claims he can treat it to a level of a drinking water level, and there's a pandemic health situation. Who will be held responsible?
Yeah. Mr. Tripswamy, another question for you from a very fine professional. He lives in Ahmedabad. His name is Saket Saraf. He asks you, it's a question you know, but I just thought I will, highlight this. He says, today if we are, pricing at say 10 rupees, 8 rupees as tariff, domestic tariff, and you know how the industrial tariff is and all that for water, you also know that we pay at least 10x the water supply board pays in order to get, like Suresh Pai said, in order to get long distance water, 83 kilometers, 600 meters from the Kaveri and so on. And we are not able to get all the water that we need. We are only getting about 50% of the water if I discount for the leakages.
I have 2 points.
Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
One is, I don't see there is any building rule which says the flushing water pipeline should be separated and it should use the recycled water.
There is a rule, sir. There is a law which says 40 plus dwelling units, 40 plus flat apartment should have this one. There is a clear rule from KSPCB.
Okay. In that case, it is not followed. And my experience with talking to residential communities, the biggest issue is, as many of us already told, until the present resources come to a standstill, the business-minded normal residents are not ready to look into other things. And this includes the borewell water, which is available plentifully at a very silly price, because I call it silly price because the original price it is going to cost on to the community, the country, our nature is no way justified by the whatever price the apartments and communities are giving. That is, if I can say, it is a mafia. It's a distributed mafia, which is very well supported by the systems here, including political and bureaucratic systems. Just in one hospital, I know they consume 13 lakh liters of water in a day after their RO plant, and 50% water is rejected. That is about 6.5 lakh liters of water goes through a drain, I heard the water finally reaches a lake, and in that lake, not even fish grows. Because the original water which is coming into that hospital for RO plant is coming from 1,800 feet below. So the TDS is so high. So to keep the membranes safely working, they reject 50% of the water. So
sure. My apologies. Something happened to my net connectivity. Mr. Tippeswamy, you have heard so many people. It's 5:35. I think you should speak now.
I think it is very interesting to answer these points. But broadly, let me start talking to resource mobilization from the point of Bangalore Water Supply and Sewerage Board. I think what is the present scenario? Quickly, let me understand, and then followed by that, what are the responsibilities and how the responsibilities have not been really fulfilled, and how see the what priorities has to be given by BWSSP. I think are some of the issues, followed by what are the responsibilities of individuals and the particular see unit developers and these things. And lastly, I would say most importantly, most of the people talked about wastewater reuse. I think many of them may not be knowing grey water reuse also is one of the very important component which can also be as an initiator. I think you should start with grey water reuse, and followed by that you can go ahead with the recycling of I mean complete wastewater. I think that should be the criteria, because so I'll discuss that more in depth. I think let me now you please tell me what time frame you are looking at for my, so that I should not cross over that limits.
Say 5:50, so that we have more time. We should listen to Vikas and Jeevan also again, about 15 minutes first. And then again you will get it done.
Let me start. See, today, Bangalore Water Supply Sewage Board is, both the Arkavatis have totally failed from last 3 decades. I think there is no water from none of the 2 important sources of Hesarghatta and Tiruvannamalai, and is purely dependent on Kaveri. So Kaveri, no more Kaveri can be done. Now, I was instrumental in bringing Kaveri stage 4, phase 1 and 2. So that was the first international funding that I got it from Japan. That was earlier to that, stage 1, 2, 3 was done with only state and funding from CLIC, and we have completed those 3 projects. But phase 1 and 2 are completed, and now we are getting about 1,307 design flow, but 1,440 mld of water is coming to Bangalore as a source of surface water. And the second important is groundwater. Perhaps you are aware, groundwater is still, nobody knows the exact number of borewells that are there within the Bangalore metropolitan area. There's some report from Central Groundwater Board. They say that approximately about 500 million liters of water is drawn from groundwater. So today, about 1,400 plus 500 is 1,950 million liters of water is being consumed by Bangaloreans within the metropolitan area. So coming back, see how this 1,900, almost 80% of this water is coming as a wastewater. I mean, coming back, sorry, before I go to that, see, virtually Kaveri 5th stage is being embarked, and they are now spending about 6,000 crores. But according to me, there is no resources are very limited. I don't know how they are going to operate to bring additional 10 kmc of water, which is equal to 775 million liters of water, that too in one stage. So you please understand, this is 750 million liters of water in one stage, at a huge diameter pipeline are going to be installed, and they are bringing by 2024 or so, they would be completing this project. That is what is in the prevailing situation. So with that, see, it will be 1,400 plus 70, 2,200 million liters of surface water will be coming, provided they get that source of 775 million liters. Anyway, with the due respect to the prevailing present scenario of present setup of BWSSB, they are implementing this Kaveri project stage 5. So according to me, when I made this Kaveri stage 4 phase 1 and 2, there was we told the government that this is the ultimate, but now they have said that 10 TMC of water is still available, and they are making this project. Anyway, that is going on. Now coming back, can we have one more Kaveri? Absolutely not. Even the prevailing situation is, in my opinion, it can only run about 6 months in a year. Rest of the 6 months, they may not get the required quantum of raw water from Kaveri source. Now, this is the scenario. With this background, let me come to realistically what is need to be done by BWSSB. The most importantly, see, there are about, in my opinion, there are about 30 issues and challenges before water supply. Among the most important issues, and see, more important issue, if I draw any citizen, if they can draw, it will be only the loss of water in this distribution system. So we are losing. See, earlier it was something like 5 to 50% of water was wasted, but now they had given to some 3 agencies. According to them, it is now 38%. I have told many a times, this has to be tested by a third party, whether it is 37 or 35 or 38, whatever it is. So third party should tell what is the exact amount, quantity of losses in the system. This is most precious water, which is brought to the city, and we drain it. And the reasons are well known. There is the losses, both physical losses as well as, commercial losses. These two losses, and we have to, first of all, highest priority should be given to bring down these losses to less than 10%. I think, as one of our colleagues has said that, so Jamshedpur has less than 10%. They have done extremely well. Tokyo has 3%, less than 3% is the best in the world. And of course, Singapore. Think of Phnom Penh, a city, Phnom Penh, which is much under privileged country, and is capital of Cambodia, is less than 6, so less than 5. See, when they can do it, why not Bangalore BWSSB? That should be the priority. I think I have told many a times, I have written many letters to the chairman stating, it is not only just recovering the fresh resources.
Losing you, Mr. Sivaswamy. Yeah. Right. Thank you, Murli. I think you should ask that question. In fact, I wanted to come to you after Mr. Sivaswamy completes. I think we have lost him somewhere. This question on losses and how to bring it under 10% or 5%, we have to ask him what specific measures WOW can offer the government, let us say, or as recommendatory measures or whatever. I think we must see how we can extract some information. But in the meantime, while he comes back on air, can anyone respond to that as to how we can give them a very simple set of directives or directions or recommendations to the Water Supply Board? What can we do to bring this leakage from 40% to under 10%? What do you think we should offer? Anyone can speak on this who has any expert knowledge on this area? Anyone? Jeevan, do you want to speak on this? At the leakage limit. Yeah, go on. Anyone can speak.
Yeah, sir. See, one thing is actually the BWSSB supplies, Kaveri water supplies to the buildings, let it be residential or commercial. So there is no limitation of the supply in many places. Okay. And there are many unauthorized connections are there. Okay. It is given very freely and the water is flowing like they're spending like anything. So we need to put a full stop on that.
Like they say, non-revenue water, NRW water is 40%.
Yeah.
But what it actually means is not unbilled water. What you're talking about is unbilled. What Mr. Tippeswamy or I'm also saying now, there is leakage in the distribution. in the entire distribution network, there is leakage. What do you think as an expert or as a professional, you think the water supply board should be doing? Have you got any ideas that we can offer like that? That's my question to you.
See, the maintenance part I've been into the maintenance part of BWSP also, like for the water, valve supplies.
Right.
Okay, many places the immediate actions not happens because of the multi-level approvals, budgets, funding. So if we speed up, okay, our systems are actually slightly very slow. Okay,
Sure.
it is not systematic. Okay, we wait for the approvals, then we wait for the funds. So by the time we have lost the efficiency of the complete system. So if we make more improvement on the systems, okay, and the pace of the systems can bring more value addition, which I have experienced that. Okay, a leakage will be there for a month, which cause a lot of losses in terms of water and in terms of money, everything. Efficiency goes down.
Have you spoken to people in the water supply board about this?
Yeah, we have a limitation. These all, these all the decision has been taken in a higher level. Okay.
No, Sakit Saraf, can you speak up? What you wrote on the chat box just now, Dr. Sakit Saraf is from Ahmedabad. Can you speak on that? You said about IoT monitors. Let me tell you also, if you go to the Pollution Control Board Member Secretary's office today, he has a real-time, online, real data that he gets from various industry discharge kinds of points and so on. Over to you.
Yeah, so see, as a problem, as a technical problem, it's no rocket science. It's being done around the globe, right?
Sure.
You measure loss of pressures in different segments. You know where what is going, and you can immediately flag where the leakage is happening. Right? Now there are some leakages which, unlike electricity, which is a big political issue, right? Here leakages, if they're purely happening because of maintenance, they can be flagged, and I think they can be capped.
Not doing. In fact, we heard Jeevan also saying that they are not doing. Why is it you believe they are not doing?
Now, what I am thinking is, I don't see a political angle to this. I'm not aware how things work in Bangalore, but I don't see it as a technical problem. So my question, it's more of a question that why is the political class not taking it head on?
Yeah, well, Mr. Tippasamy is back. Can you unmute? Sir, please? Or okay, Ganesh wants to speak. Please, Ganesh.
Yes. So, equivalent to the BWSSB Kaveri lines, Bengaluru has 70% of GAIL lines as well. Have you ever heard of GAIL gas leaking out?
Absolutely.
Right. Absolutely. So, because they are a new set of network which is continuously monitored using IoT, the Internet of Things. And second thing is, in last 3 years, whenever I have raised a complaint for BWSSB commissioner, which is about leaking of water, it is either due to the new GAIL installations, the new geofiber installations, or the new optical broadband installations. So the whole problem about Bangalore is these layouts are not really well designed. The same duct has
yes,
the
but
Kaveri line.
you know that more than 40% of Bangalore today is outside of the Kaveri board network. Let's go back to Mr. Tippasamy. Can you unmute, sir, please?
Yeah. See, I heard all the three people, and I say my opinion is very simple. See, when you look at a small scale, a small layout of say 200 or 300 houses, it is very easy to monitor. But when you're looking at this, a very huge, say for example, first of all, let us take the 8 urban local bodies, which are about 250 to 260 square kilometers, has recently been installed. I think the distribution system is, we have not taken up anything from that. Only the 245 square kilometers, which was old BMP area, for that we have only taken up, redressal of, reducing the unaccounted water or non-revenue water. Here, non-revenue water comprises of 3 components. One is basically physical losses, and is a real losses, which you call real losses or physical losses. Second is a commercial loss, which was Jeevan was telling about. Sure. See, this commercial loss is definitely, it can be done within a year by just doing some hard work, it can be done. But actually physical loss is very difficult to, because identifying the the condition of the pipeline, leakages, where they're happening, all that, it is a different see, they are doing it anyway. See, third point is there are see losses. Because we are giving a lot of water supply through lorries, to fire hydrants, to so many other issues. There is a certain quantity of water is also. So all put together is a non-revenue water. These are not going to yield any revenue to the
Sir, the
board.
question is very simple to you. As an expert of 50 years of working, with the technology change that has happened in the last 5 to 7 years with IoT and so on, how do we make the water supply board install what another gentleman just now said in Trichy? They also get Kaveri water. They have installed IoT, he says, for fresh water. We are not talking of discharge water that PCB is handling. How do we do that? What should we do with the water supply board?
Now, fundamentally, see, BWSSP has geared up for GIS. They have already got the GIS. Introducing, see, these all, applications using this GIS. See, IoT, or see, the installation of, they already made almost 60% of the area with the district metering areas and all that. I think it is very possible. I think the only thing is that the BWSSP has to gear up to implement the latest innovations that is happening in the country and the abroad. So in order to make this very sensitive and recovery of the real losses that are happening.
Sir, let me ask you a question that Dr. Saket Saraf asked. Technically, we know it is possible. Is there a political reason for allowing the leakages to remain at 40%?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Then why are they not doing, sir? That's the question all of them are asking.
It is. See, I should say there are a lot of other issues which I would like to tackle at BWSSP. There is a shortage of staff. One, there is a capacity building is also most important. See, there is the people who are at the helm of affairs have not geared up to understand these sort of new technologies.
Exactly.
See, unless these chairmen come frequently and go 6 months, 1 year, maximum 2 years, they go. But who has to implement these things is only the engineers within the department. They should take things forward and get the approval and implement all those things. I think,
with the stature that you enjoy as a water authority, in a sense, in Bangalore, have you been able to persuade people like Ajay Seth, or even the Principal Secretary Water, or the Minister for Water Resources? Have you been able to influence these people?
No, sure. I have done, see, in the span of my 35 years service in BWSSP, my 13 years experience is in planning, corporate planning. I brought highly innovative projects in the whole country. For example, first municipal wastewater recycling was done by me with the French funding. First international funding from Japan, Kaveri Stage 4, Phase 1, was done by me in 1994-95. So first,
if I may say so, most of those things that were done in those years were on the supply side. I am asking you, why is it that when you talk, for instance, 1,900 million liters, we are actually talking 190 crore liters, which our data is also showing. What we have done as research in Alltech now, 190, I'm saying in crores, you said in millions. My question to you is, in all those years, as well as now, why is it that we will not do on the demand side management?
No, we have tried to do that because, see, as you rightly said, see, we should have measurements are most important. See, virtually there were no measurements. See, correct. Only except till the Kaveri comes to Bangalore, there was some receipts and with the flow meters and all. But there were no flow meters even within the city. And how much is water is going to there were 68 reservoirs in the city. All these 68 is how much is going to each reservoir, how much is going to how much is distributed to the respective areas. See, what is the revenue realized out of that? So these things were not at all. See, I started doing that. I think with the help of Government of India, IT, information communication technology, I started to bring a pilot of nearly 8 crores, and they gave 4 crores as a. But unfortunately, after my exit, these things have not been implemented. I think this is really exactly what my friend from Ahmedabad said. So these are very critical today. Measurements are most important. Controls are very important. I think without that, you cannot do anything. See, the IoT applications are very much required. See, in distribution system, I think you need to have a complete panel of distribution. See how much water is going to each reservoir. See, for example, Kaveri stage 1, 135 million liters. Which are those reservoirs which are feeding to that? How much of water is going for each of these reservoirs? Whether that so much of demand is there or not. See whether they are giving more or less. So these are the things, and regulating this. Basically, I was also started putting up equal distribution. That is optimal utilization of available water. Everybody should get the same pressure, and same pressures. They should get the water. So that sort of applications are also very much required, because see we have to put a lot of additional gadgets. For example, PRVs, pressure relief valves, etc. So in order to regulate those things, all these things have to be done. And I started doing for a pilot and doing that. But unfortunately, I was out of the services from BWSSP. So I was only in some of the international companies advising them and all that. So now the point is, I am not trying to get into that. The point is, capacity building is also most important in any institution. So unless you know what need to be done, what is that you are going to? For example, many of your colleagues have said that so many things are happening around, but nothing is looking at greenish in BWSSP. I think that is where the chairmen also should be supportive. The engineers should come forward with putting up new ideas on all these areas and try to implement new things. So that is very much required.
Sure. Sir, I'll put it like this to you. One thing is very clear among most of the people who are here. I won't say all of them. We are clearly not saying that the government is not doing things, or the government is incapable of doing things. We are not saying anything like that. Somewhere, like you said, if even people like you who spent 40 years, 3.5 decades in the system, you are not able to get them to be proactive, to bring some basic governance to things, to look more at demand side than at supply side. If you say that stage 5, they are going to bring something like 75 crore liters, you said 750 million liters.
750 million liters,
which is 75 crore liters. That is, today, effectively, they're supplying only 90 crore liters after all the stages which you also were, responsible for implementing. What are we doing? Is this not insanity? And if you yourself say that you are not able to do things with the government, what are citizens likely to do? These are all members of WOW who are looking up to people like you to say, well, we will see how we can go to the government and see if we can bring some action. What would your response be?
No, I would like to say, see, there is also a very important thing I want to tell you. See, the government, the BWS is represented by chairman, who is the administrative head and all that, followed by there is a set of board members who are responsible taking the important decisions and all that.
Correct.
But these board members are all IAS officers heading some BBMP from, one is from finance, one is from urban development. Virtually, they are not able to think even a minute of what about BWSSP functionality. And see, you should have a very big setup of at least 15 members or 20 members who excel. See, even from the social media, and the highly respected people in the different sectors, maybe finance, maybe in social. So there should be a very cohesive board. I have seen many parts of the world. I traveled many countries all over the world. Right. I saw everywhere there is a very big set of board members who will discuss this threadbare. See, even one issue which is there, they'll discuss in threadbare and qualitatively, quantitatively, and then the final decision is taken. Here, see, none of these board members, I'm sorry to say, they have no time to look at even the agenda, what papers have been sent. They will come only, see, I was the secretary of BWSSP in 1991, 93, 94. So unfortunately, they come, they just open the agenda and they finally, see, the senior most IAS officer will decide what need to be done. See, that should not be the case. I think this is where lacking. Most of the things are lacking. Second important thing is we should have a corporate planning. That planning should should come out with all new innovative technologies. What has been done other part of India, other part of the world, which can be inherited in say BWSSP.
Agree,
See,
sir.
it may not happen within no time or 1 year or 6 months. It will take 2 years because you have to prepare a beautiful DPR. That DPR has to be thoroughly examined. Then ultimately funding, then government approval, and finally, if it requires even foreign funding, it takes. So I'll tell you, Kaveri Stage 4 Phase 1, 1,542 crores project was approved within 5 months, which is one of the greatest. Period where Mr. Ghoshal was the chairman of BWSSP, and we did that. I think that is the greatest something that we have done. I think like that. See, there should be a commitment. Leadership should be created, by capacity building has to be created by BWSSP. Within the BWSSP, each one should feel that it is he is committed to improve the BWSSP say activities, BWSSP's assets, BWSSP's finances. So there should be a commitment from all the engineers and the officers. See, that has happened in Nompan. I can send you sometime later the presentation and all that. It is really worth it. See, they have done it. See, today their losses are less than 5%. Can you imagine? They are giving a bonus to everyone, and they have gone to the market for shares. I think.
Okay. I will ask you a question on behalf of many of the youngsters who are here, who are, brave as green entrepreneurs, wanting to be in the water sector. The water sector, in water treatment sector or water, whatever, related businesses have been growing at about 20 to 25% CAGR for the last 8-9 years because of the inefficiency of the government. Whatever deficits you have in the government is actually opportunity for business. What would your message be for many of these young water entrepreneurs who are present in this group, sir?
Okay, I think,
should they accept what we have as status quo?
No. First of all, we have to understand what is the present scenario. So how this whole thing is working. Where are these lacunas? Where are these? We can strengthen the whole, either in engineering or in administration or in social. So where is that should be shortcomings have to be strengthened. So those things have to be identified. See, for example, there is engineering aspects are many, but even the administrative aspect or financial aspect. So they have to be, these are the key three for sustainability. We look at, so these important areas. I think we have to understand BWSS, where is that lacking in managing the whole water supply? So in terms of giving a better, even with these present setup, I can tell you, it is possible to give 24/7. It is possible to give 24/7. Even you can see many Asian development cities with less than 100 LPCD, they are giving 24/7. So only the qualitative, as I said, first and foremost is reducing the unaccounted water. See, that is the first. When you talk 24/7 or when you talk of quality of water is also most important. See, it is quantity and quality. Quality is again water safety plan. See, that is again a big subject by itself. See, perhaps you are aware, Tamil Nadu has gone to Supreme Court against Karnataka that we are polluting Kaveri in a bad way. So, in keeping that in background, I think we have to look at the catchment of Kaveri. See, where all these point and non-point sources are polluting. And from there, see how we can have a better quality of water, not only for Bangalore, but also to the other, and also down the line. I think, look at, Prime Minister is spending so much of money for Namami Gange, and so much of money, they are constructing so many wastewater treatment plants, so many other things. Similar thing has to, I told the other day to the director of Namami Gange, I think, Mishra, I told him, sir, you are only Prime Minister is giving a lot of funds and your establishment. But what is looking at Kaveri, there is tremendous, you see, people are all letting us Saramatra, sewage, everything in the upstream. And I see today even Nanjangud, perhaps you must have read many times, even Nanjundeshwara is being washed by the polluted, highly polluted water. So this is the situation. We have to look at that. Second important thing is water quality within the distribution system. Unless you have a 24/7, the quality of water cannot be. See, even a day for yesterday, I mean, last week there was a big article in Times of India where they have 10 samples in Delhi, 10 samples in Bangalore, 10 samples. So they're all bad, the quality of water. Here, everyone says our quality is good or 95% of the is satisfying. But who is third party? Where is third party checking that quality of water? See, because our pipelines are running parallel to the sewer line, parallel to the stormwater drain, everything is happening. I think all pollution is taking place. So, you see, the water quality and also the 24/7 plays a very vital role. When 24/7, all that water within the, see, under pressure, nothing will enter into the system. So you can rest assured 95% of the, unless otherwise in stray cases, the quality of water will be good. So this is another issue, big issue, which I don't want to take it up. But see, looking at other issues, what other colleagues have said on the wastewater recycling, and and one of your colleagues has said that, see, that letting out see, so much of water into the lake, and it is getting lake is getting eutrophied, and ultimately see this. So quality of, again, see, rejects are also RO rejects. They use see, bore wells in a big way. The TDS levels in the bore wells are 2,000 to 5,000. So that again 50% rejects again going into your see, they are letting into the so at least you let into our sewer system, at least see something will take place in it. So actually, my point was, I am very much interested on recycling and recycling of wastewater. I think now already 2,000, as per the latest report which I got from KSPCB, 2,300 decentralized sewage treatment plants are there in Bangalore itself, and totally about 2,750 for the entire country, entire state. But 2,300 decentralized plants, ranging from 0.1 MLD to see 5 MLD. So there are many of these high-rise buildings, and they have installed this, but many of them are not, fortunately or unfortunately, they are not properly managing, or operation maintenance are not properly done. Only a few of them, I think, out of that, more than only 60%, according to them, only 60% of them are properly utilized. Rest of the 40% they are not utilized. See, here
one of the participants is saying that mostly all of it is on paper. Of the 2,300, you said 2,700, he says 2,300, sir.
Yeah, 2,300, a big number. For example, I was advising University of Science. We installed 2 plants there. I think they are utilizing the entire, see, ring mains have been provided, and so 26 installations, 26 departments are using for air conditioning, all the purposes, and 1,000 student hostel they are using for that. And similarly, MS College, something.
If you don't mind, I'll just stop you there. Ganesh Shanman, can you tell us of your experience of today's visit and what lies you saw on this STP?
Sir, just a minute, please hold on. I will show that report. I have it here captured.
Wonderful. Please do. While you do that.
So I will tell you, so KSPCB has issued CFO, consent for operation, right, to this building, where they are saying that there is no air pollution, no water pollution, and no sewage discharge. Number one, there was no STP installed, and there was no generator installed at all, and they were claiming that the generator has already the sound reduction put in, the effluent reduction put in, all this kind of stuff, right? And they have issued a CFO as well. right? I was really literally shocked. And this is all happening. I called other day, right? Openly, Pakka Corruption Board. Nothing more than that. You pay money, you get all the documents.
Absolutely.
I don't trust the number, whatever they are saying.
Sir, Mr. Tippeswamy, you are hearing. I will request your response after he finishes. Go on. Go on,
Sir, I think you introduced me as an entrepreneur in the water solutions, right? I am not an entrepreneur. I do not work for profits. I am a social, I'm working for a social cause.
The others.
Yeah, right. So I just visit all this kind of premises and I get all this thing. I'm telling on record, like nobody cares how many illegal borewells a complex is drilling, right? I mean, if I want to have CFO, I am getting CFO by hook and crook methods.
Can you show that CFO? Can you share that screen? So that while you do that, let me ask Murli Anur. I know you have posted a few things. You're out of town today, but do you want to speak, Murli, and ask or share some thoughts with Mr. Tippeswamy since he's with us?
Yes, sir, sure.
Please ask him whatever you want to ask him, please.
Sir, see, we all know the importance of, demand side measurement. Even the supply side measurement is also very critical. Like we all know how Johannesburg went into this critical condition and started implementing prepaid metering. Now, when a state which has abundant water supply available, when they are planning to implement a prepaid watering system, Bangalore with so much of issues and problems, why is not BWSSB thinking of implementing prepaid water system? We are talking of 24/7 Amrut water scheme, but is it really required? Absolutely. What water we are supplying, people should be made to pay, value it, and then use it.
The colossal costs, Murli, to the others, I think 750 million liters, what our Mr. Tippeswamy told us about that they will commission by 2024. It never happened by 2024. They are spending 12,500 crores. If they spent only, like Padu told me some 2 years ago, if they spent only some 5% of that money and focused on demand side management, we would have got that second Kaveri with the saved water. We don't want another Kaveri to come. Who wants another Kaveri? If you save 50% of it, we have created another Kaveri. That is what the title of this theme was today. Murli, go on, please, if you want to state anything more before we go back to
absolutely. Ganesh. Absolutely. I mean, today, I was in Trichy about 3.5 years back when they were implementing ultrasonic sensor-based water leakage detection systems where the Kaveri River is very near to the city. In Bangalore, we are like 100 kilometers away. And BWSSB takes it on rental purpose to identify as and when the need is there.
My God, I see. Vijay Raj, you are listening to this. You have been, interacting with the Water Supply Board also. What can we do to tell them this? That Kaveri runs almost inside of Trichy and they yet have these ultrasonic measurement systems. And here, 83 kilometers away, we bring it and we don't want to have any measurement systems.
So, now we have the measurements. No doubt about that. We know exactly how much of water is coming to Bangalore. But we also recently installed what is the quantum of water going to each reservoir. But down the line, we don't know much. Definitely, we have ultrasonic flow meters. Flow meters are there, which have been installed. We'll know correctly what is the volume of water coming to city, but not down the line at the individual. So individual houses, of course, this is a unique situation where Bangalore is having
on the distribution. If you say that they have got these ultrasonic devices, are they able to measure the leakage also and to plug it?
No, that's what I said. One is, about 55% of the area, which is now within the Bangalore metropolitan area, has been identified with more than 82 district metering system, where they isolate that particular area and they study the volume of water input and then see the total volume that is fed into that month-wise, and they'll come to know what is the extent of loss in the system. But that is not happening for 40% of the area still. So now another important point is there are some lacuna in the whole preparation of the tender. See, actually, in the present system, see, performance-based contract should be given. In the sense, the contractor should perform what is agreed. For example, if he's bringing down to 15% or 10%, that is not happened in the three contract which was earlier given. Now they are given to an Israel company. They have now gone for performance-based contract. So like that, things are, see, there is a dilution in some of the way, and now they are rectifying. Probably it will take some more time, but this time is money, time is precious.
Of course.
And we are using huge amount of money. Not
2.5 crores a day, 2.5 crore rupees a day of tax money, taxpayers' money. Back to now, Jeevan Raj and Vikas. You have the next 7-8 minutes. You heard Mr. Tippeswamy saying that he is particularly interested in the recycling of wastewater. And he talked about then all these 2,700, whatever, decentralized systems and so on. If we have to get another Kaveri, we can only get it if 50% of all fresh water is at least reused. Over to you both. What can you offer to the city?
See, I would like to, as Tippeswamy sir said, he said about all the freshwater, Kaveri water usage, and he's spoken about the BWSSB side.
Right.
So now, if we see that the availability of Kaveri water to the city is now coming down, okay, like probably if we think about after 50 years, okay, we are not going to get this legacy that we are not going to get this trillion liters of water from Kaveri. Okay, so now, so we would have thought about recycling the water being used here in the city in an effective manner. Okay, so now we spoken about the IoT-based real-time monitoring systems. Okay, now I'm coming to KSPCB. See, similarly, the BWSSB is a water body here, and here pollution control body is also the other side. Okay, now we all know that Bangalore, how much water we are using in the buildings. And if you take the residential buildings, the water reuse is only 55 to 60%, and 40% of the water, it is going waste. And everybody knows that. Even kids in the Bangalore streets, they know that this water is going waste. Okay. What are the problems we identify in these apartments? Okay, mainly, there are 3-4 problems. The first thing is they are not complying to the any norms now. Okay, many of the 50% plus not complying to the norms. Many of the STPs, as we said, 2,300 STPs in Bangalore. Let's say 50% of the STPs are not operated scientifically, and it is not working at all. Because I am a STP operator, I goes to many STPs. I goes to especially in residential apartments. Okay, I'm not talking about the commercial buildings. Up to an extent, they are doing it well. Okay, I can say that they are utilizing water 80 to 90%. They are utilizing. But in the residential apartment side, when I go, many of the apartments, their STP is in a very bad condition, very poor condition. We cannot enter into the plant. It is fully stopped. Treating treated water, letting out is different, but untreated water, they are sending it out. Okay. First thing is they are not utilizing the treated water. That is different. Okay. They are polluting the ecosystem by sending out the untreated water. Okay. The other point is poor monitoring of the plant. Okay, see, Residential Welfare Association don't want to monitor the plant because they are least bothered about it.
For want of time, you have to be, see, when we talk decentralized, not any central level, forget lakes and rejuvenation, all that. Decentralized, if we are going to talk about, bulk water discharge people, forget about users. What can you bring as a solution is the question I'm asking you or Vikas. That is, like one of the gentlemen said earlier, I have got 1 million liters. He was talking about RO discharge water. We'll forget that. I'm saying if you got 1 million liters of discharge every day, what is it that you can do to go there and say, I have a solution? Is there any such solution that you or Vikas can offer? Or any, since you both work together in a certain sense?
Yeah, sir. First is there are two parts. One, I will take 1 minute. Okay.
Yeah.
So my part is actually we do offer special services to the apartments. Like, see, I know that there are a lot of funding issues are there in apartments.
Correct.
Okay. There are a lot of space constraints are there.
Sure.
In STPs.
Sure.
So we come up with the solutions for that both. Okay. See, if an apartment is not having a fund, we can fund from our end. Okay. We can run the show.
That's okay.
Run
That
the
is
plant.
one. Okay.
Okay, then treat the water, and then Vikas is having a beautiful solution to recycle it for industrial application. Vikas, can you please come?
No, see, the point is this. It's not about technology. We don't want solution providers to be talking. We want to know, because I have, let us say, 200 flats in my apartment. You know, therefore, I got about 1,20,000 liters per day or 120 KLD. What can you do to come and tell me, sir, you use half of that, 60,000 liters is excess discharge. I will take it. I do not want to, you should not ask me to, give you space in my basement of my apartment. Are you willing to say that you can do something about it? I mean,
Yes.
The example could have been at, let us say, 400 or 500 flats. Go on.
Right. If it is 400 to 500 flats, they will anyway have an excess of around 2 lakh liters every day.
Correct.
So all we are saying is, don't send that 200 KL to the drain. You are not benefiting. Earth is not benefiting. No one is benefiting.
Correct.
Give that excess water to us. We treat, we invest, we put the equipment, we sell the water.
Now, when you say we put the equipment, are you saying I am the apartment man now? You want me to give you some land and space there in the apartment?
So if you have excess space, we will take 20
We have no
feet.
space, sir. I will say we have no space. What will you do, sir?
So if there is no space, we have to take it out, transport it to a different facility.
So my question to you is, if I'm such an apartment and I've got, let us say, 200 KLD of surplus discharge water, are you willing to take it from me? I'm asking on behalf of other members here.
Right. So with the current bandwidth, we are not able to take it to a central place, but over time, we want to do this where even if people don't have space, we want to take it to a central facility, treat it, and then send it to
Sir,
industry.
Mr. Tippeswamy, as a veteran water management man, if there are youngsters like this who say, sir, you give me wastewater, surplus wastewater after STP, is there something we can do to enable some ecosystem for them, Mr. Tippeswamy? Sir, you're mute. You're on mute. Yes, sir. You have to unmute.
So what exactly is happening? So, for example, fecal slide management. Fecal slide management, again, taking everybody's feces to a place and treating it, and see that water is again discharged into, see, given to the agriculture or something.
Correct. Honeysuckers.
Something like
yes.
that. I think we have to think of these things also very important. I think marketing, see, this water is also a very important issue. Probably, see,
sir, I'll stop you there. I'll take the same thing to those two people. Jeevan Raj, you said you can also fund it. Can you do like the honeysucker people? That is, they come, take the sludge from your house, and then they go take it to some distant place and treat it. Can you do something like that? One of you can speak, Vikas or Jeevan.
Yes, sir. Currently, we are treating in their facility itself. See, I am addressing the...
No. The scenario I am giving you is, apartment does not want to give you space. They have got, let us say, 1 lakh liters of discharge water, surplus discharge water. Are you willing to come, take it and go away, wherever you want to take it? Are you willing to do that? Vikas was not clear on that.
Sir, no, we don't have currently a facility outside. Currently, we don't have a facility outside, which we are really thinking to do that.
Note, all of you as AGA members and AGS members here, please note what they're talking about. We can discuss this later as WOW members at the Action Forum or in the action groups. There is a point that these two youngsters are making. We need to see what we can do from WOW to help them. We can go back to, to veterans and doyens of water management like Mr. Tippeswamy another day. Suresh Bhai, do you want to now ask these two youngsters any question?
Yes. The question is the transportation cost. As Ganesh Shanbag rightly said.
They are willing to take the transportation cost.
Then I think there should not be any problem.
No, but what they are facing is, as Vikas said in the beginning, apartments are saying, sir, you're taking my water. Are you going to pay me for it? They're saying, excuse me, they're already violating the law, but this is what they're asking. If
maybe 50% of the apartments are like that. Maybe 50% of the apartments would like to wait and watch. Say you may say after 6 months, when my business flourishes, I will pay you some amount.
He's willing to
And
say.
right now, I am not able to pay that. I think 50% of the apartments will certainly accept it. And I think you should bank on such 50%.
Vikas or Jeevan, respond please.
Sir, here is the role of KSPCB comes in picture. Okay. Here, they know that this 50% is going out. So why can't they put a very, very close monitoring or very close law to these people that you cannot do it, you have to do it free of cost to the people? Or why it should...
Okay, hold on that please. Sir, Tippeswamy sir, for you my question is, the law exists today. Bangalore city is one of the few cities which have as many regulations.
Yeah.
Clearly, the PCB has made a notification saying excess treated STP water, I keep insisting upon that, cannot be discharged outside your building.
Yeah.
What does it take? Since you have also spent 35 years in the government, sir, what does it take the government to implement this? Why is it that they are not implementing?
No, it is still possible. I think if the excess treated sewage is effluent, I cannot guess sewage, treated effluent is well within the certain norms which has been prescribed by BWSSP. See, for example, less than 500 say BOD, less than 450. So if they are achieving that result, they can.
Again, we lost him. He has a network problem today. Vikas.
Can I?
Yes, please. Please speak. Mamta, please speak. Yeah, go on. Please speak. Go on.
See, the thing is that we have become very specific to the apartment here now.
Well, if you ask me, I told Mamta, just hold.
Just hold on, sir. 1 minute. I'll just tell you why I'm saying this.
Okay.
Because see, no, don't take me otherwise.
No, please.
Because most of us are not able to participate here now. The thing is that we came with a thing of saving the water.
Yes.
It also we need to think about for other places also.
Now, let me put it like this to you, Mamta. Today's discussion is on water recovery, as you know. That is the theme itself was about how do we create, metaphorically, another Kaveri by saving 50% of the water. That is today's discussion. I'm not saying rainwater harvest and other things should not be done.
No, not sir. Rainwater I'm not talking about. I'm talking about we should also include the layout, sir. There are
absolutely no questions.
Gated community.
No doubt at all.
Yeah,
please remember,
that's what I'm saying.
You know,
what I was just saying.
I submit to you.
1 minute, sir. Just a minute. I raised my hand when we were talking about involving people on the board. When Mr. Tippeswamy was telling that we should get it, then I got an idea that we have a lot of town planners, from various industries, huge campus.
Sure.
Those people should be involved. They know how to manage the water in the towns, big towns, the townships are very huge and you have all kinds of waters there.
Sure.
So why that time I raised my hand, and also I'm saying that gated community also where the gentleman, where they are recovering the water. I think there is a place in the gated community. There is where they can recover the water and they can give it for them back to usage. That can be thought about it. I see. I know offense meant.
No, certainly not. Very well taken also, your point.
Yes.
Mr. Tippeswamy, you were saying something and you got cut off. Would you want to resume where you left? You can unmute and speak. You have to unmute. I can see you're still muted. Yes.
Can I have a question to Vikas?
Yes.
Mr. Vikas,
Yes.
so you have been saying, I think along with Mr. Jeevan, that you do take, say, the excess treated water and then you treat it further. Do you treat it further?
Yes.
And if you treat it further, who is the end user after you treat?
Well, lovely question. Okay.
Yes, sir. So I'd like to answer this. So we treat it to a very high quality water, and the end users are industries who, for hydraulics, for cooling towers, for all industries which are currently using either borewell or Kaveri water, we supply it to them. So basically, instead of using Kaveri or borewell, they use this water, which is currently being sent out to the drain. Have I answered you?
Yeah, you answered me. Can I also tell you something, in the sense, visibility is very, very important.
Sure.
I have seen in one 5-star hotel where I went for some consultancy, the treated water is flowing behind a sheet of glass, right? So there they have put a small caption saying that the water which is flowing behind the sheet of glass is treated water. It attracts attention. So if you are saying your water is being used at industries, this is where you should really see that the visibility is also there simultaneously.
Wonderful idea.
Sure,
Definitely,
we must,
definitely.
we must,
Really.
we
I
must.
agree.
No,
No,
I mean, you
one-
can, because you
I-
can
I
add,
just
you can
want
please,
to-
sorry.
I just
Sorry.
want to respond to that particular
Yes,
this
yes,
thing.
please.
See, the borehole water is always looking so aesthetically and colorless, etc. But it has got so much of other impurities. See, there are several parameters: physical, chemical, bacteriological parameters. So out of that, if you look at the TDS itself will be so high in borehole water, which cannot be seen. Turbidity, if it is more, it will be seen. But borehole water, since you are extracting from a ground, so there will no turbidity. But there will be certainly there is organic and inorganic content will be there, which is not been depicted when you see from your naked eye. I think that is different. But here I want to say that, see, he is right that this water basically tedious because most of the high-rise buildings and these complexes, they are using either borewell water together with say tanker water and BWSS water. So these are the combinations that they are using. So borewell and say the tanker waters, you don't know from where these tankers are coming. They ultimately the TDS in both of these are much higher. So they have to really go in for TDS. To removal of TDS ultimately requires a RO. Removal of say TDS cannot be done with only with ion exchange, nanofilter, ion exchange or someone. So in that consideration, cost is going to be one of the important criteria.
They have cracked that also, sir. Cost has been cracked because you have 1 minute now, 6:30 already. What would you want to, you have been asking me, what do you want to ask the water veteran? He's here with us and he will continue to support us. What do you want to ask him specifically in a way that you are able to give us the action group target for this year?
We would like to ask space and from apartment association and from the government, we would like to ask us to support in terms of helping these apartments follow norms and give us excess water.
Now, when you say help from the government, please be specific. What would you want?
A notification from the government saying that this apartment should give excess water to people like us who are taking it.
Is such a thing possible, Mr. Tepeswamy?
It is possible. It is possible. I still feel the possible. Close to the lakes, nearest lakes, I think some 1 acre of land or 2 acres of land or even part.
No, he's saying
on a lease basis can be given by the respective government. Should take, see, in the larger interest of the community, larger interest of the industry, larger interest of the whole thing. I think they should look at these things as one of the incentives to the industrial people, and also for giving a better quality of water for the industry.
Sir, I will take that up with you separately. The second part of his question, he's saying, can the PCB send a letter, if not a notice, to an apartment saying, please give your treated effluent water to any such person who wants to come and take it?
They can. Only point is they should give certain quality norms, parameters, for example. So some 6 important parameters, maybe it's BOD, COD, pH. So some of these 5 important parameters they give, and if they're satisfied, they should give. There is no point in
it. Okay. Mr. Tepeswamy, what I'll do is I will speak to you probably on Monday, so that these green entrepreneurs, or whatever we want to call them, water treatment system people who are saying, I will take one. We will see how we can enable them by talking to a few agencies in the government, if that is possible. We'll have to see how we bring reason there also with them. Any last comments from anybody, please? Jeevan, you want to speak? Go on.
No, sir. It's
No.
okay.
Anybody, Suresh Bhai, in the context of the target for AGA, and in the context of what our Mr. Tippeswamy told us today, as well as these two youngsters, what are your reflections? What do you want to ask them, or what do you want to contribute or offer to them?
No, I think we need to support the initiative done by Mr. Vikas. I think apartments should readily come out with the proposal, even if giving for 6 months with no cost to the apartment. See, the cost of transporting and other things, I think many of the apartments, I already told you, they will accept. My second thing is, they as Sitapati Rao rightly said, the end result, they should indicate in advance. And the third thing is, pollution control board, whether they can give a letter.
Mamta, please mute. Yeah, go on.
Sorry.
Yeah. Whether they can give a letter, I doubt very much, because we had a similar situation elsewhere in Tamil Nadu where they issued a letter. Then the apartment association went to the court stating that it is not given in the act. And pollution control board cannot give something which is not indicated in that. They have to amend the act, then only they can give the letter. And this is one legal aspect we need to bear in mind.
We'll keep this in mind. We'll discuss this offline. Yeah. Ganesh Sandbot, any last comments? Maybe 20-30 seconds?
Yes. So first of all, kudos to Vikas and Jeevan. I want to give one example. It is called carbonlights.com. I was typing it here. I'll just post the link. So it was very similar concept, like in the greater Whitefield area, they used to collect wet waste from all the hotels, and they used to take it at one common place, and they used to generate biogas out of it, make a bottled cylinder and send it back to the same hotels.
Excellent. We want to talk to them because hotels is one target area we have got. Yesterday also we were discussing this.
So whatever model Vikas was telling exactly is on the same lines. So I gave the example of Chinnaswamy Stadium. If something like Chinnaswamy Stadium can be replicated, then probably 10% of the apartment water can be taken. So I think I made judgment to 30 seconds, whatever I got.
Excellent. Good point. Thank you. Neil Matthews, you're a very innovative thinking person. Any last comments from you?
I think this model where Vikas was proposing, that's a very good model, and a little bit of push from the government will make a very good thing. I am working for one organization, Greenlease, because the entire waste from the communities is going into the dumping. Poor farmers are just getting for one drink, and that is being dumped. So I am helping this organization to go to the communities, install machines and convert the waste into reusable thing. So that is same line as what Vikas is doing. I can help Vikas also in doing that, because it's a great job if it is achieved.
Thank you. I have a simple law which can be taken up with the relevant authority. Can I talk about that?
Yes, go on, please.
Yes. As far as solid waste management is concerned, the industries are supposed to dispose it off through pollution control board empaneled people who can treat the solid waste. Now, it is a simple thing. It is a simple thing. Now is the time for people like you to take with the concerned people to make it a law for the excess water available through the apartments. At least 50% of it should be going to empaneled people, like in the offering, like Jeevan or Vikas. So let us have some empaneled people who are already doing the job of fine treating the treated water.
Excellent, very good idea. I've made a note of this. We will see how we can track. Back to Mr. Tippeswamy. Can you sort of sum up what you have heard today? And what can we do? Again, I am saying, sir, somewhere you said about decentralized also. Padhu Padmanabhan is also telling me on the side that we must look at decentralized, and you heard these boys talking. What will be your advice for the future? How do you think we should take this up?
No, incidentally, see, most of them representing the cluster of houses and etc. I think definitely there is opportunity for them to utilize this entire water for various purposes. Still, I am feeling, see, they should not
Again, we lost you. Okay. There's some challenge with his network today. Anjali, is there something we can do to help him? Is it our problem or his? Anjali? Okay.
When
sir,
bandwidth
it's
is
his
low,
connection
when
issues.
His
bandwidth is
bandwidth,
low,
his,
if we
yeah.
keep the video
Yes, yes.
off, the
Okay.
voice will
Okay.
come right.
But yeah, Satish Malya, you have not spoken today at all. You're always very articulate. Can I request you to speak for a minute before we get? Oh, there he is. Mr. Tippaswamy is back. I will ask you next, Satish Malya. Back to you, Mr. Tippaswamy. No. Satish Malya, please. You have heard all of them. Yeah.
Good evening. I think I am already in touch with Vikas and his partner. We invited him to our apartment for a feasibility study.
Got it.
As Ganesh was telling, the space is also the problem. Because you require a space, that is going to be a problem for any apartment.
It is.
Any apartment, but
most
of the apartments are willing to give the water. Even government level, we approach especially in Elenga, which I am involved much. We went to the MLA also, and they agreed solution sort of things. We have a rail factory here. Rail wheel factory, and they are willing to take this water, treated water. So Vikas, we are discussing with Vikas. Let us see how we can do it, because these government people are ready to take this water.
Absolutely. Mr. Tippaswamy, are you back? Can you talk, sir? I mean, to just quick summary from you. That's
quickly.
all.
I think holistically, what I am trying to say is, see, integrated water management is most critical, in my opinion. You should look at. We have not talked about the storm water or the rainwater, rooftop harvesting, etc. But I think you should really look at all the three. Apart from BWSSP supply, whether some areas they may be getting, some of us still not getting. But when you look at holistically, so all the three components of wastewater, storm water, and whether it's groundwater, all these and try to make use of that in a sustainable way in the long run, because even as I said, the Kaveri may again, there may be some problem, as one of our colleagues said. What happened in 2018? You see that situation may be worsening. So unless there is some precipitation happen, fortunately, the last 2 years things are okay. But now we may not expect the same thing in the years to come. I think we should really work for the scarce period of droughts, and accordingly we should manage, and we should be sustainable using, because Bangalore rainwater harvesting almost 65 days in a year. See, we are making that, and that should also be used, one of the resource. So resource mobilization from all these angles is very critical, and we should try to do that. I think, of course, among them, wastewater reuse is most important, because that is available all the 365 days, and that water should be utilized for maximum purposes, which is really called for. I think that is, in my opinion. And anything on that, today it's also called as one water. So all these, many cities around the world are already, for example, Singapore is the best model you can see in Asia. So the integrated water management, 13 cities under switch. European Union has done 13 cities around the world, and they have come up very well. That sort of thing has to happen in India, and then only we can be sustainable.
Lovely. I think we leave it with those. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All of you for having participated. We exceeded our time, but that's all right. We'll meet again 2 Saturdays from now. Thank you so much, Vikas and Jeevan, for having brought in some active participation. Thank you, Ganesh, for all your good ideas. I'm sure we'll take it forward from here. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Tippaswamy, for all your time and support.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.
Thank you all of you.